And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. It is the 16th of February, 2023. Hard to look that up today. And I was like, man, another week, it's my birthday. Hard to forget about that sometimes. But yeah,
Ooh.
the 23rd's coming up, another year older. And I guess another year wiser here as we count down to Country Radio Seminar. We'll be there coming up March 13 to 15 at the Omni Hotel, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out, bangtail.com and Easy Liquor. And of course, wine and specs in Nashville, Gentle Ben Spirits out there too as well. Our friends at Great Vodka, the Great Bourbon, and the Great Jennifer and Ricky Ford. Check them out at gentleben.com. And of course, Honky Tonk Texas, all made possible there for our trip to Nashville. And the best and artists. We've got a full slate of artists, and looking forward to that trip in a row. Country Radio Seminar. Of course, we're live on the YouTube channel and at the Sports Guys podcast.com. Please welcome in my featured artist of the day. This guy's rising, and right now it is Trouble for the rest of the industry. That's the current single out there across all the digital platforms. The single's called Trouble. Josh Ross to the program. Josh, what's up, man?
How's it going, dude? Appreciate you having me.
Man, it's good to have you, brother. Like I said, well, let's start right there. I know your background is pretty cool, and that's why you're a perfect fit for this program. Former college football player, I understand too as well, and I know from the Canada area. Tell me about, and I know through being an athlete too, everybody kind of, we go through injuries to try to get our body where we kind of want it to be as an athlete. But then you picked up a guitar not too long after that, man, and pretty much the rest is history. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, so I played almost every sport kind of growing up. Whether it was hockey, 15 years. I raced motocross for 13 or 14, and just kind of track and field. Did a little bit of everything, and led to a point where I was about 16, and I had to pick between football, motocross, and hockey. And I ditched the hockey, and then I did the football and motocross for a minute, and just started to really fall in love with the game of football, and that kind of could lead me to college and play college football. So I played college football up in Canada, and through that process, I started just picking up the guitar a little bit. Tended to be when I had injuries going on, and in my senior year of high school, I had an ankle injury that kind of needed some fixing, and I had a surgery then. And I just started learning basic chords and healed up, and then got back to, good shape for my freshman year in college. And unfortunately, I re-injured the same ankle again, and kind of that's when I kept leaning on the guitar to pick it up. And just was learning. I learned "Truth" by Jason Aldean and "It Goes Like This" by Thomas Rhett, and those are kind of the first, two songs that I learned, and I just play them over and over. And a couple years went by of just injury battles and kind of falling out of love of playing in football. And I remember before my senior year, I just said that I wanted to try this music thing, and I didn't really know what that meant, but I felt it brought a feeling in me that I knew I was missing, and from football or something else in life, and decided to kind of chase that. And I'm very thankful for sports. I think it did a lot, to kind of help with working towards what I'm doing now. But it's been really cool to kind of see it all come together.
Yeah, talk about, it's pretty cool. You mentioned Thomas Rhett, Jason Aldean. I mean, two of the top in the industry for the past decade or so, more than that. For both those guys have been at the top of their game and know the industry inside and out. Was that kind of the musical influence, a little bit of that background of their songs and just trying to pick up the guitar and, like you said, learn that, and then of course the chords and things like that? Were there other musical influences that were maybe non-country that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up a lot of like 90s rock. I mean, my dad was definitely more on the metal side, whether it be Metallica or like Guns N' Roses and that kind of stuff. And my mom was more like traditional 90s, or even some of the other stuff like U2, Bruce Springsteen. And so I definitely had a lot of different influences. I got pulled up on a stage when I was a kid, like a cover concert, and the guy was playing, I think it was Copperhead Road or Guitar Town, and I actually fell in love with Steve Earle. He was my first kind of love in country music, and I don't know if it was just kind of the way, the motion in his music, or kind of what he was perceiving in his songs. And it was a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old that was in love with that stuff, and just continued to kind of, listen to country music, but definitely got away from it for a minute. And then, in high school, country became kind of like a cool thing again. I remember it was like, I don't know if it was between like 09 and 2011 or somewhere in there.
Mhm.
Like country ended up being kind of the primary genre people were listening to again, and so it made it really easy for me when it came time to kind of getting into it. I think I always kind of listened to it, knew Alan Jackson, George Strait, and Tim McGraw, and
Mhm.
like I would go to Tim McGraw concerts every year, and I definitely just knew a lot of the music, but I was definitely one of the kids in the beginning that were kind of the only one listening to it, I guess.
I like that too, and a great different variety of music, which you talk about how, and now you look at so much of a crossover industry. It's not just traditional country. You've got your, I mean, they call it bro country, rock country, and then a little bit of pop country, and so there's a little bit of everything, and that's what I like about it. It's very unique out there, and it's a different audience for every different style of song that's put out there too. I want to go back to your first, or one of the first singles that you guys put out. Love Never Looked Like Us. I got a chance to listen to a lot of your music over the past week or so. Congratulations on all the early accolades in your career. Let's talk about that single and kind of moving forward. And a lot of people say, that first single, we try to, put something out to the audience and kind of see where it's going to resonate, and then try to find our sound and kind of who we want to be as an artist, that type of thing. Talk about that first one and how it's led to now the current one, Trouble, which is really knocking on a lot of doors.
Yeah, so I mean, Trouble, First Taste of Gone was kind of like the experience of finding myself, and just to kind of make things quick. It was a song that kind of meant a lot, and was very real to what was going on in my life. And first time I felt like I found my voice, I think, was the biggest thing, and kind of like what I wanted to say in songs. And that song did a lot for me. It made me, I got to meet my management team and record label, and a lot of just really great things happened from that song. And then I wanted to make sure that people knew I wasn't just like a sad ballad singer. And On a Different Night was kind of my next approach to that. I'm asking my friends, I'm the first to kind of like dive into the emotional stuff, but I'm also the first to probably party and get a little crazy at times. But so I wanted to show people that. I wasn't sure if it was a safe play after First Taste of Gone, but I just went polar opposite with On a Different Night. And it's been the song that continues to grow every week, and it's been really awesome. And Trouble kind of came in just an organic way. My buddy Mason Thornley, I wrote with, had the idea. He actually called me from another writer's retreat, probably 5 or 6 months before we recorded it, and he had this idea about being in trouble, or I am trouble, or we weren't sure what it meant yet. And at that time, I was going through kind of just a breakup and missing somebody. And I remember calling her one night, being like, "If you could, would you just come back home?" And that kind of ended up being the inspiration, the hook for the song. And it just all kind of came super organically, and just the real way of. I just always wanted people to feel like they can understand what I'm saying, or they feel like they can relate to my songs. And this one's been really special, just to see how many people really do like, the songs that helping me get through what I'm going through right now, or I've been there, or whether it be anything. Like I've had people, it's because we just put a music video out for it, and people that are first responders that have been struggling with being in a relationship and trying to maintain a job and long work days, or other people that are diving into say it be alcohol or those kinds of things. And it's been very cool to just kind of see that all happen. So
Yeah, and like you said, affect people in different ways, and more than just a relationship standpoint, but difficulties of life, and kind of understand that we got an issue here, a problem. We got to address this in a certain way. The song can go so many different ways. I want to go back to what I thought was a great EP you guys put out too as well. I believe it was 2020 when it came out, and really the song that hit me, and it makes people think more about life. And where I'm gonna go with this is "Do What You Love," and it was the title of the EP. You guys put that on there. First of all, great project itself, great country songs on there too. Chevy, really, I think about a lot of things over my life, but definitely that was a song for me. "Do What You Love," and I'm sure it's done a lot for everybody, right?
Yeah, it's cool that you did a little deep dive. It's crazy. I cut those songs. I started cutting them in 2018, and I had been singing for about not even a year. So I was still very green and trying to figure out things I wanted to say. And "Do What You Love" was probably the most organic song out of that project. And it came from me losing my job. I mean, I hadn't moved yet. I was still taking trips to Nashville, and I had a job back home that was really awesome, paid really well. But my boss was also one of my great friends, and I remember I told him I wanted to come to Nashville again, and he's like, dude, you're slipping at work, and I don't know what to do about this. And I said, well, what do you think I should do? And he goes, as a friend, I tell you to go to Nashville, but as your boss, you're fired. And I remember getting to Nashville and sitting in the writing room and kind of telling that story. And a guy named Matt Willis, he looked up and he's like, man, you might lose your job, but at least you're doing what you love. And, obviously at that time, there was a lot more panic of like, how am I going to pay for things and all that kind of stuff. But that's how that song came about. And it was just very organic. It's still very special to me to this day. That one is. And it's funny. It's one of those songs where if you don't really know my stuff, you might never find it, but some people will kind of dive back in on stuff and find it. So it's been cool.
Well, that's what I pride myself in here, brothers. We always do the homework here on the show and get a chance to listen to a lot of songs and EPs and things like that too. And I know it means a lot to the artists and to our guests, who come on the show every day to make us stand out even more here on the Backstage Pass. Before I go to break, I want to talk a little Chevy here with you too, because on that same EP, I thought Chevy was kind of like the perfect country song out there for people that can really resonate with that. What was the backstory of Chevy?
Chevy was actually the only song on that project that somebody had pitched to me. And for me, it felt like a timeless kind of song. It was just one of those ones where like kind of brings back those memories. And I think now I'd maybe do that song a little differently, just looking back, but I think that's part of the growing process. But there was just a different energy to that song, a different vibe that I feel like hadn't really been fully done in country music. And the lyric was obviously a little bit more country, but just a cool song overall. Kind of brought me back to some of my younger days. And it's funny now that you brought this up. I went last week and actually got a 94 Chevy. So, slowly been working on that. Actually, that's what I was doing tonight. So
I love that, man. Hey, like I said, those trucks are good old trucks, boy. They never die when it comes down to it. You make those necessary repairs and you're good at what you do with your hands. No doubt about that when it comes to fixing things under the hood here. We'll take a quick timeout. Still a lot more to get to here with Josh on the Backstage Pass. Don't forget, we're counting down to Country Radio Seminar. Josh may be there and a whole host of others too as well at the Omni Hotel, March 13 to 15, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, Gentle Ben Spirits, and our friends at Honky Tonk Texas out there too as well, definitely. And I know some of the great groups lined up. We'll have T.G. Shepard, T. Graham Brown, Kelly Lang, McBride and the Ride, Ty Herndon, and a whole lot more there at Country Radio Seminar. It's busy. It's going to be good. There'll be about 50 or so interviews in a matter of a 2.5 or 3 day period. So a lot of great people to meet in Music City, and one of the best cities in the United States of America. We'll come back, take some comments. See, we got a couple of comments there in the margin. Come back here on the Backstage Pass more with Josh Ross after this timeout. Hang tight.
The Bangtail Pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. That's how they do it. They put it through all those machines, and that's the science behind the Persado technology. Gentle Ben Spirits, thank them for being a presenting sponsor there. The Backstage Pass CRS coming up March 13 to 15 at the Omni Hotel. Of course, our thanks go out to Bangtail Whiskey and our friends over at Honky Tonk Texas. Back here with Josh Ross on the Backstage Pass. Of course, we'll be there. Looking forward to that. And man, if I get there, we got to go out and have us a beer. No doubt about that. Yeah. Looking forward to like I said, a toast and almost good things. And speaking of that too, I'm going to go back to this, and this is always fun. This Beach Vibe song you get when I look at it was really cool. You guys put this out, Tall Boys. I really enjoyed listening to this one too. Got a pretty cool message out of that too. Definitely in my younger days of fun, I guess, in life. We'll leave it at that. It all resonate with Tall Boys, and for you, man, it really broke out and did some cool things. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, I was an independent artist at the time, and I remember we wrote that song and sat on it for about probably 8 or 10 months, and I was terrified that somebody else was going to write the title because it was just so simple concept. To me, it was anyway, and kind of playing it off. She's into Tall Boys, but it being about the beer, and it was really cool. I had a blast. It's probably to this date, my most favorite music video that we shot, and we got to do it out on Old Hickory Lake in Nashville here, and yeah, just a lot of fun, summertime fun, and at that time I was still exploring kind of like what the sound was and what we were gonna do, and still one of my favorite. It's gonna be our show opener here come fall, and just kind of brings a good energy to start the night off. So.
Yeah, he did too. And I'll tell you another one that just had some really cool. I thought the lyrics were very clever in this one too, and very kind of pristine. The song you put out, I believe it was on that EP too, Born with a Boyfriend. Tell me about that one too, because that's got some really cool, clever lyrics. At least I think
yeah.
so.
Yeah, I mean, it organically kind of just, it was a real, I had this idea, and I was kind of like, is Born with a Boyfriend kind of interesting or weird concept to write? And I had a friend in the 7th grade that, I always remember having a huge crush on, and she, whether she was single, I'd be in a relationship, or when I was single, she'd be in one. It's just like, she always seemed to have a boyfriend. And I remember walking up to her and being like, she's one of my friends, but being like, you're born with a boyfriend. And it's just kind of that concept. I think we all kind of know somebody that, is always in a relationship or has somebody. And that was kind of just it. She inspired that. And yeah, it's funny. It's good. It's cool going back and thinking about these songs.
Hey man, when I tell you we do our homework on the show, I was not lying to you. I'm not. That's a big deal. We take pride in doing that too, man. No doubt about it. As far as the other singles, man, I checked out everything. Even got to watch the Trouble music video before I get to the single on my backtrack too, which is kind of a little bit before Trouble came out. Tell me about the music video to Trouble that people can now check out across the different digital platforms. Had to be fun shooting that.
Yeah, it was really great. I mean, Whales from Whale Tail really killed the idea, and I just said I don't want to do another bar, music video for that one. It obviously kind of plays into that, and there's definitely a huge element of that. But I just I wanted to do something different. Originally, I thought maybe like a construction worker, and then he had this idea about doing the firefighter thing, and he knew some people at the fire station that were willing to kind of volunteer and want to be part of the video, and I was all in. So. It was just really cool concept, and also just kind of play into, I try to think about other people when, they, say they're experiencing breakup or something in their life, and those, those firefighters work really hard, long days, and a lot of first responders do. So, kind of just tapping into how, mentally taxing that can be. And, it was just really cool. I got to kind of live my youthful dream of being a firefighter for a day, and got to kind of sit in the fire truck and be like, I was like, man, my 8-year-old or 6-year-old self would be just like crazy pumped right now. So it was really cool.
I love that. Great music video too. The one I was going to back up to was 2021, Before I Loved You. Tell us all about that one.
Before I Loved You, it was I wrote that. It's crazy, actually. That was a song that I had wrote and sat on for over a year, and always felt good. It was always a good show, like a show opener. We used to actually open up with that song, and it was just about all the things that I loved before I loved that person. And I just kind of was a line that it was like, you kind of don't forget. You might love doing certain things, but then once you love somebody else, and you kind of forget about things that you used to love. And that was kind of the idea on that. And yeah, just and then how hard it can be to, love somebody new before you love the certain person. So
No doubt, too. Love this comment here. Love the comments. Keep them coming. If you got a question for Josh, leave it comment box. We'll get to as many as we can. Sammy comes in. You're amazing. Josh keeps singing, writing those amazing songs, too, and then kind of follows it up there. Another one. I agree with this one. It's number one song. Love it. Yeah, it's you never know. Awards do come in this industry when it comes down to it. And for you, man, pretty cool to see, being one of the top rising Canadian artists they have out there right now. But I've seen a lot on your Instagram and a lot of the socials out there. You've got a lot of outlets grabbing your music now. I want to say, I think I saw Amazon do something there. You had a bunch of things, a bunch of these big time media outlets are just really grabbing your music, man, and playing it. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, I've been, I left kind of Canada early on in my career, kind of before I had anything going on, and, really wanted to make a goal of being, an international artist. And, you go through a lot of years of kind of growing pains, and, I moved to a different country, didn't really know anybody, and, really had to work at that and forming relationships. So it's been really cool to see those relationships kind of grow and then kind of see them come through. And yeah, very thankful for a lot of streaming platforms, and, even being like Apple Music and some of their really big playlists like Today's Country and stuff like that's been really cool. And then I was on a billboard for the first time in Nashville because of Spotify for Hot Country new artists in 2023. And then the other artists that are in that category, it's really cool because we all kind of come up together and know of each other. And it's just been really, really cool. And I'm just super thankful as a kid or a guy that just, kind of wants to play music around the world. So
tell me about that too. Speaking of stepping back on stage now, I mean, tours are getting busy again. Bars are opening up, venues, amphitheaters, fairs, festivals. For you guys too, I'm sure it's just getting started here first quarter now, as a lot of artists are telling me they're about to get busy. For you guys, I'm sure it's the same, right? Live shows.
Yeah, we got a lot of shows in April. I go out with Lee Brice and Tenille Arts, which is going to be really great. And looking forward to kind of just learning from Lee, I think is the biggest thing I want to take away from that. Somebody I admired for a long time and such a great voice. And I've never played arenas and stuff like that. So it'll be my first time kind of doing the arena stuff. And that's going to gear me up and get ready for we go out with Nickelback and Brantley Gilbert for June, July, and August. So we'll be gone total about 90 days straight. We're doing the rock and roll style tour, which is, kind of, you don't come home. It's just straight shows. And it's going to be great. I'm really excited. And the one thing I came into this year and said was like, I want to be gone. I want to be playing shows. So, I mean, hopefully we keep booking up even more, into the fall and just make the most of this year. It's been great to have live music back. And I think people are really hungry to, and want to listen to live music again. So.
No doubt, brother. Like I said, if I can find you're somewhere close to me, then I'm going to come out there and do some show coverage and definitely, like I said, shoot some video, put it up on our stuff out there too at the same time, and just hear you guys, whoever you're with too, is going to be, I'm sure you'll be a great supporting act for them. And definitely, I can tell you this, Lee Brice, one of the nicest guys I've had a chance to meet in this business and talk with him on the show, and also Tenille Arts, two of the finest in the industry that you can learn from. So definitely, man, be a sponge on that, no doubt, to soak that up. Two of the best out there. Hey, I loved, for take the next break, I loved, you had mentioned on a different night too, that they had a really good feel to it. But to back up even before that, the song First Taste of Gone, tell us all about that one too, because I really thought that was another one of those kind of 90s feel to it, which now puts it into modern day country.
Yeah. First Taste Gone came just the best. It kind of came at the best time, and it was a real situation. There's a bar in Nashville called Red Door, and I had been sitting there one night with Mason Thornley, a good buddy of mine, and I'd recently gone through a breakup, and I don't think he even realized it, but he bought me a drink and handed it to me, and he said, "Here's your first taste of Gone." And I was like, "Dude, that's kind of a cool idea." And we were supposed to go in the following week to record another song, and my producer had COVID. I think it was like a Tuesday, so we had to push our session to the Thursday. So Mason and I just got together on that Tuesday instead, and it's really great to have a friend that you can kind of connect with in a sense of like, this is what I'm going through in life, and being honest with the lyric. And Mason and I were able to do that day, and I remember walking out that Tuesday being like, this is for the first time ever, I feel like this is me as an artist and what I want to say, and I was just super pumped about it. I remember going like, okay, well, Thursday, that other song we were supposed to record, we're not doing it anymore. And at the time I was independent, and within 3 weeks we recorded that song, and I had put it out. and it really did change everything for me. I think that was the one that just kind of like turned a corner for me that I didn't know existed or didn't know what was happening. I don't think I fully knew what was happening, but I knew that it felt right, and super thankful for that song. So
you got a lot of great songs out there too. Every song we've talked about here on the show is available for download out there streaming. Wherever you guys like to do that kind of stuff, if you hadn't heard all of Josh's stuff, like I have too, get the Apple Music. I'll go ahead and do a free plug there too. It's always great, and you can watch music videos and a whole lot more out there too from your favorite artists too, which I enjoy. One quick timeout. We're coming back with a rapid fire here. Also want to ask about the really cool music video On a Different Night that the guys put out last year. Really cool music video if you haven't checked it out. Of course, the song too as well. We're just talking about here on the Backstage Pass. Again, the countdown to CRS is on March 13 to 15. The third year in a row, we get a chance to be a part of a great event, interviewing Nashville's best and brightest at the Omni Hotel in the media room on the second floor, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey, Gentle Ben Spirits, and our friends at Honky Tonk Texas. Timeout for those sponsors. More with Josh here. It is the Backstage Pass live on the YouTube channel and, of course, at the sportsguyspodcast.com. Coming right back. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Back here on the show again, Josh Ross joining us here on the Backstage Pass. Of course, we'll be there with our friends over at Gentle Ben Spirits, Bangtail Whiskey, and our friends, of course, at Honky Tonk Texas, presenting CRS 2023, interviewing Nashville's best and brightest, Buddy Jewell, and a whole lot more. I know T.G. Shepard, T. Graham Brown, McBride, and The Ride. If you love 90s country, I can't wait to meet those guys. Terry McBride, they had a big hit back then called Sacred Ground. If you've never heard that song, I guess that's old school right there. Some people may know that, some people may not. Josh probably knows a little bit of McBride and The Ride, the 90s country there too as well. And, of course, we'll be hanging out with Nashville's best and brightest there at the Omni Hotel right next to Bar Lines in the Country Music Hall of Fame. If you've never been to a week of a CRS, you need to get up there and take advantage of that too, especially if you're a country music fan. Back here with Josh on the show. Let me ask you about that before I get into rapid fire. The music video On a Different Night, another one kind of fun to shoot, and some pretty cool kind of venue place where you guys shot it. Some cool backdrop stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I just wanted to have a video that's kind of more high energy, and that whole song, the whole feel for me was let's put the sad lyric with the fun behind it, and kind of make it feel fun. And Wales did a great job of that video, and the bar we got to actually shoot it at was I think it was the oldest serving liquor bar in the state of Tennessee. Actually, it had like the prohibition doors on it and stuff like that, which were kind of cool. And it was old in there. It felt real, and we just got to kind of have a fun day. It was one of those ones where you kind of ask all your friends to come out, and you get to serve them kind of drinks for the day, and everybody gets to hang out and kind of throw a mini party without it having to say it's a party. So it was a lot of fun. I had a great time, and it turned out super well. So really happy with that one.
I love it too as well. Like I said, a lot of the music videos, love catching them too. Love seeing all the different versions out there too. And like I said, there's always something different for every song, telling a different description out there depending upon what the song is about. And of course, I love the stories behind the music videos as much as I love the stories behind the songs. All right, one of my favorite stops here on the show, ending it, is a little rapid fire. Get to know you more on a personal basis. So no right or wrong answers, and no SAT questions. I promise you that either. When it comes to sports now, did you get a chance to I know for me, I didn't have a dog in the fight. I love the Arizona Cardinals in the NFL. Super Bowl, yeah, that last play lived up to expectations. Anybody you're rooting for? Did you get a chance to watch it? Did you throw a party?
Yeah.
What'd you do for Super
Yeah,
Bowl?
I went to a party. I mean, I'm a Bills fan, so
Okay.
I didn't really have a preference. I did want the Chiefs to win, so I was happy that happened. Obviously run the clock at the end. It's not as exciting as everybody probably wants, and then also that pass interference everybody questions. But hey, it was a close game throughout the entire game, so I don't think there's been a lot worse years where there's a bigger spread on the score. So it's pretty awesome. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little fun fact. I got a chance as a high school coach in football. I coached against Jalen Hurts down here several years ago.
That's
He
cool.
was in high school. So
Yeah.
we kind of knew then we had one hell of an athlete on our hands once those
Yeah.
generation type players. So being a slight, my wife more than me, but Cowboy fan down here too, she's like, I want to see the Eagles win. But for Jalen, I'll make this exception. So I kind of felt like, go ahead and leave that time on the clock and watch him drive the length of the field and get beat by 4 points on the other side. But I knew Andy Reid had some great clock management too, which was great there. And they executed with the Harrison Butker field goal. All right, so you got your wish this year. You're out on the road, playing a lot of dates with these shows we talked about now. When you're out there on the road, what's kind of a cool place you like to stop and kind of get some good, I don't know, just good takeout? Or you hole in the wall restaurants? Do you like that?
I like Buc-ee's if there is one around. I mean, there's one around this area. But no, I'm very simple. I mean, I'm trying to eat healthier, I guess would be the better way to say. So, if we're picking up food, try not to go to McDonald's every time or Taco Bell. But I think quality food will go a long way, especially for the 3 months away. And I'm not too picky. Honestly, I'm very not a picky person. Most people probably get annoyed by that. They're like, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, I don't care, like whatever. So, I'm not really a foodie or anything like that. If anything, it'll be, hopefully just staying in shape, getting some workouts in and kind of, just trying to work towards the fall. I'm really looking forward to fall, hopefully get to spend some time recording and hoping for a project come fall time. So
looking forward to that too. Cannot wait for that to come up too. All right. I guess hobbies outside of music. You mentioned kind of a little bit there working out. I know some people say watching TV. What do you enjoy outside of music? I
like fishing. I got an old 14-foot bass boat, so I like to do that in the summer months with my dog, and I like my dog a lot. Him and I kind of hang out and do stuff, and and then I just last week ended up picking up a '94 Chevy. I've always wanted one of the older ones, square body, and kind of doing some tinkering around on that before we had this. So I was doing a oil change.
Like that. Man with a plan.
Yeah,
about it.
Just stuff that's not to do with always music, I think is a good thing. So
well, it's like this show. If I got some outlets to do with family or my daughter or something else, or just hit the floor, do push-ups or whatever, just outside of doing this, because I got to have an out to kind of be away from it, no doubt too. All right, when it comes down to, let me ask you this one. This might take some thought here. The title of the first song that Josh Ross ever wrote, or what was the song about?
It was called Cheap Red Wine.
I like that.
It was written as if it was my first song. It was a co-write. It was with my buddy Will. We kind of even had a duo thing for a minute. He played the instruments a little better than I, and it was kind of just like a summertime sitting on a riverbank kind of song. And then after that, I guess the first one I wrote by myself was called oh man, I don't even remember. That one's even harder to remember. I remember how it goes, but I don't remember what it was called. I don't know.
I like that. Well, you think of the title.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit.
Now it's going to bug me. I'm trying to think of what it was.
It's going to bug you a little bit. All right. I love this one. Let's say you won the lottery, one of the big lotteries out there. What's the first thing Josh would do with the money?
Disappear for a minute and figure out what I'm going to do with the money.
Amen, brother. Amen. When it comes to that too, I would disappear off the face of the phone, no technology for a while.
I would need a minute. I would need a minute to figure out what I was going to do with everything, but I probably still do a lot of what I was doing. Try not to tell people about it, but I'm sure they'd find out. So,
love that. All right, favorite TV shows to binge watch? I guess even outside of sports, what do you enjoy watching?
I watched the Breaking Bad and what's the one too? All the brothers are kind of I just finished watching it. But yeah, I like those I don't know if it's the crime drug kind of shows or whatever. It's just it's got some action, but it's got a good storyline. Yellowstone, I loved Yellowstone too.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been really great. But yeah, that's. I'm not a huge TV watcher. I kind of like throwing on at night, and I'll find myself, rewatching episodes 3 times until I kind of get it done. So sometimes it feels like work, but
Well, if you like the Breaking Bad, the same actor, of course, Bryan Cranston, the one on Showtime that I've just seen, I've caught up now on Sundays when it comes out, the Your Honor. If you haven't checked that out on
good.
Showtime, he plays a judge, and there's some things that go haywire, and of course, the story pretty much tells itself. But great acting in it, and reminds you a little bit of Breaking Bad there too. Like I said, he's a terrific actor, and what's funny is I've seen him at Rockets games down here in Houston too. When I go to Rockets games, he's always a basketball fanatic too out there too. At least he's been around that. So, well, I tell you, man, I love the single is fantastic. All the music is great. Trouble is out there across all the digital platforms for you guys. Download and listen to wherever you're at, where your subscriptions. Keep the clicks up. Give him a like on social media. Josh, hope to connect there in Nashville in a few weeks, and appreciate you taking some time out to spend some time with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you to all you guys, streaming, clicking, sharing. It's what keeps it going. So I appreciate you having me today.
Oh, no doubt, brother. Looking forward to seeing you here in a few weeks there in Music City. CRS 2023 will be there March 13 to 15, Omni Hotel, presented by our friends at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out, bangtail.com or easyliquor.com. Also, GentleBen.com for the vodka, the gin, the bourbon. If you like to drink, we do here on this podcast. Get a bottle sent to your door that way. And definitely our friends at Honky Tonk, Texas. We'll see you tomorrow. Tommy Howell on the program. And here in a few weeks, we're tracking her down. She's one of Nashville's best artists, Brooke Eden, coming here on the Backstage Pass. We'll see you guys soon. Take care and have a great night. Talk to you soon.
See you guys.